Hi everybody, Hub Archer here for Pro Football Weekly, and it's time for us to preview the game of the week, Week 16 of the 2012 NFL season, a one that could very well decide playoff hopes for one club, maybe nothing for the other. It's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, and something close to a winner-take-all. To do that, we welcome in senior editor Mike Wilkening. Wilkie covers the AFC North for us all season long, and let's start with the Bengals, Mike, who are hot once again against mediocre to poor teams. Can they run with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, it comes down to this for Cincinnati, and the toughness and ability to stand up to the big bullies in the AFC North, I think, has always been the question for Marvin Lewis's team. You go back to 2009, when they won the division, they swept everybody in the division, and they earned that division title. And I think if they are to win here on Sunday, they will earn that wild card spot. But I think the big question when looking at the bullies in the AFC North, and I think Pittsburgh is still one of them, is what type of form are the Pittsburgh Steelers in right now?
Well, and I mentioned Cincinnati does fine against mediocre to poor teams. The Steelers may fit that category right now. They look pretty good against Dallas. They were playing better. What Ben Roethlisberger was thinking when he threw that first pick in overtime, he can blame it on Todd Haley all he wants. That's a throw an elite quarterback can't make.
It was a big mistake by Ben Roethlisberger. It was a game where really it was on him to win or lose, and he did about everything to that point that you would have asked him to do. It's probably going to be on his shoulders again here on Sunday. This is a team that cannot run the football. I know they ran very well against Cincinnati in the first meeting, but the running game is in shambles. The offensive line has been shaken up. It's going to come down to Roethlisberger, and it's going to come down to his receivers. It's going to come down to Mike Wallace, Antonio Brown. Brown has given the Bengals trouble before. Wallace has the speed to give Cincinnati trouble. I think it's really going to come down to Big Ben and the ability to sort of shake off that pass rush and make the one or two plays down the field that maybe Andy Dalton can't make.
Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers still very highly ranked on team defense, total defense, but none of the stick-out individual performances that we're used to in the past. They've had guys banged up occasionally on defense. They're doing a nice job. They're not the impenetrable force they once were.
Right. They're sound on defense. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be. But you're right, Hub. This is a defense that's in a bit of state of transition right now. They have not gotten the sort of play that you would have expected from all of their top caliber guys. Injuries have had something to do with it. Troy Polamalu has missed the bulk of this season. You've had James Harrison, Lamar Woodley dealing with injuries. But these are all still guys capable of making big plays on big stages, and they're capable of making big plays against an offense in Cincinnati that really, when you come down to it, it's A.J. Green or bust in the passing game. And they shut A.J. Green down in that first game, and I think it comes down to that again.
Now, defensively in Cincinnati, they're a bit of a no-name group. I think Geno Atkins is one of the best-kept secrets in the NFL. Ray Maualuga, their leading tackler. Reggie Nelson has to be a difference maker at safety. These are not household names. Bengals are up and down themselves a little bit on the defensive side of the ball.
They are, but they have been quite a bit better of late versus the run, which I think is one of the keys here, because I don't think the Steelers can probably establish the run like they did in the first meeting. In the defensive line, Hub, I think, is the key to the entire operation for the Bengals. Geno Atkins is great. He's on his way to becoming a household name. They can get pressure off the edges, too. Carlos Dunlap, a very good defensive end. They're deep along the defensive front four. They're getting better at linebacker. Vontez Burfict, the rookie's had a great year. And on the back end, they've had some interesting guys step up. Terrence Newman, the ex-Cowboy. Leon Hall still playing well. Mike Zimmer's defenses in Cincinnati typically get better as the season goes on. And I think this has all of his handiwork, I think, sort of written all over it. He has had a nice year coordinating this defense. They're getting better. I think it's a better group than the one that faced Pittsburgh in the first meeting.
You really have to wonder, with all the unknowns present here, does it come down to coaching? And you've got Mike Tomlin with a ring. You've got Marvin Lewis, been there a long time, been to the playoffs a few times, hasn't won the big games. Does the edge go to Tomlin on that side of the ball?
Probably, but I think both coaches have had some interesting game management situations this year. And over time, I tend to think that it's going to be very interesting to see the little things in this game. Special teams coverage. I think Cincinnati to me has an edge in that area. They do some of the little things pretty well, and I think it kind of comes down to the one team that makes that first big mistake. It's a close game, I tend to think, and who cracks first? Usually it has been Cincinnati in this series.
All right, well, it's prediction time. who will crack first, who gets this one, because the winner most likely is going to be in the playoffs.
I think the biggest edge in this game is Cincinnati's defensive line versus Pittsburgh's offensive line. And when you go back and look at how Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh a few years ago in a game that really helped win them the division, it was up front, it was a grinding game, they shut down that Pittsburgh offense. I think they've got the defensive line, the might up front, to really make this a grinder, and I think the Cincinnati Bengals win this game, clinch a postseason berth, and the Steelers are out of the postseason.
Well, it's not a bold prediction. The Steelers have struggled all year long, but Mike, I got to go against you because to me the biggest difference in this game is the only players who've been in situations like this and succeeded before will all be wearing black and gold. Ben Roethlisberger, James Harrison, Troy Polamalu, Lamar Woodley, on and on I can go. Cincinnati hasn't gotten it done. I'm not going to predict that this is the first time out. So we're on opposite sides of this one. We'll see how it goes. Should be a great football game. For all the best in news, notes, and analysis, preview, review, you want to make sure you stay with ProFootballWeekly.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.